would you like to be the president?
Kamala Harris right now, but she didn't win. But
Can I point out something that we say no kings and no authoritarianism, but Kamala Harris, no one voted for her.
Yes, they did. Half the country voted for her, so let's not go there.
No one was voted for her to be the nominee.
Yes, they did.
Isn't that what, like, authoritarian?
You're going down the wrong road right now with me. I wouldn't go any further.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to talk to you anymore. That's what it means.
I just think it's ironic that no one voted for her to be the nominee. They just selected her like a king gets selected, right?
But keep it to yourself, okay? Bye. Have a good day. See ya.
All
Take
right.
care.
What's your other sign say?
No, you don't need to see it.
Okay.
None of your business.
All right, thank you.
Isn't it a little bit homophobic that we're so focused on the straights of Hormuz and not the gays of Hormuz?
Yes, I agree. Yes, for sure.
Why do you think they're willing to leave the gays of Hormuz behind?
I think it's just historically, like, you know, gays have always been very discriminated against, which is wrong on so many levels.
Even in war.
Yeah, even in war. It just takes more reform in government, obviously, and then also educating society.
I just feel like if we're going to go in there, we can't leave the gay people behind.
Right.
I don't think we should go in there at all, but if we're going to, the gays of Hormuz, we could turn it into Fire Island.
The far right, seeing Trump and Vance and Charlie Kirk and all, you know, they are white fascist supremacists. Why? Why? Yeah. You're trying to understand why I think Trump is a racist.
Yeah, I'm asking for an explanation. Yeah.
Wow. Let me pinpoint it because it's been an accumulation of knowing about him for the last 20 years in New York. I can't really say why I think he's racist. That's like saying, you know, he's a white guy. He's
My goodness. All right, guys, let's just do the rundown, okay? Today we're going to be covering a story. The Democrats get destroyed by Trump appointees. I'm going to show a few videos of the appearance of Kash Patel in Congress, the congressional hearing that he had today. And he essentially destroyed the Democrats that tried to get sound bites from him of them embarrassing him. He essentially dealt with them effectively. Democrats in Tennessee got some bad news today. We're going to be covering that. Remember the riots that they held at the Capitol in Tennessee, in Memphis? We covered that last week. Well, something came up, and I wish that the House leader and the Senate leader in Congress at the federal level would learn from what they did in Tennessee. And the protests in New York City continue to reveal disturbing realities. Now, before I jump into the story, the chat, gardening, thanks for showing up. And the rest of you who are watching, please jump into the chat. Yes, these people vote. It's crazy and it's frightening that we have people like this voting. But then again, that is what we have to deal with. Now, remember that you guys, you're all part of the show, and please send in your comments in the chat. I'm going to read your comments every single time they come in. In fact, I value your comments more than I value the news that we're covering, because it's your perspectives that essentially help us to round out the entire show. And I will do my best to get to your comments. Now, the super chats will be read on screen, but the regular chats, I'm going to keep them off screen. Super chats tell me I want to be, I want to support the show, and I would like my chat to be put on screen. So thank you so much for joining the show. Let's jump right in. Now, also, you could also subscribe to, let me say, follow me on X, and the handle is Crossroads IRL. Okay, so the first story that we're going to be covering is the moment that we've all been waiting for: accountability. Accountability for the hooligans who masquerade as Democrats or politicians in Tennessee. We watched a video of them essentially acting like clowns. Let's have a recap of that.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You stupid mother.
All right, so that was the thing that happened, and look, it's disgraceful. Now, this post here says FAFO in Tennessee Speaker of the House just stripped every Democrat lawmaker who acted like thugs and trashed the chamber during redistricting of all their committee assignments. This is how you do it, Speaker Johnson. This is how you do it, John Thune. This is how to fight back. You don't reward these people with zero consequences. Now, we're going to read the document. It says this is coming from leader Karen Camper. And it says, "Dear Leader Camper, due to actions taken by members of," sorry, not written by Karen Camper, by Cameron Sexton, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, due to actions taken by members of the Democratic Caucus during the second extraordinary session of the 114th General Assembly aimed at disrupting the democratic and legislative processes and creating disorder on the House floor, including but not limited to interlocking arms in the well of the House, blocking aisles on the House floor, instigating and encouraging disruptions of the legislative process in coordination with paid protesters, and we all know that these protesters are paid, and attendees in the gallery, including the distribution of earplugs to a member of your caucus, the use of prohibited props and noisemakers on the House floor, demonstrating lack of respect towards fellow members seeking recognition to speak on legislation, and flagrant disregard for the permanent rules of order of the House. Members of the Democratic Caucus will receive individual letters removing them from all standing committees and subcommittees of the House, except where membership is required pursuant to Rule 65 of the House Rules. This is how it's done. This is how it's done. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Oh boy, but it's not a tear. I am not crying for these clowns. Okay, just something in my eye. Look, we talk about accountability. The truth of the matter is this. For me, and I'm going to be truthful, for me, it's not about essentially left or right. It's about doing things properly. It's about doing things properly. It's about balance. It's about fairness. It's about doing the right thing. And if you have Democrats routinely doing things like this in Congress, on the floor of the House of Representatives, at the state level, like you
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's remind ourselves that while we're here in this special session,
Mr. Trooper, please come out that balcony over there.
Proceedings were going on. This is what they did. So for anyone out there that's like, oh, the Republicans are wielding power, this is what these clowns did. They stepped in front of the chamber, interlocked arms to disrupt the entire thing. They made this thing a clown show. The Democrats are essentially making the democratic process that has created the greatest country in the world, they're making it into a mockery.
Mr. Lambert. Mr. Clerk.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the remainder of my time.
Leader Lambert yields the rest of his time. We're voting. We are voting on the bill. All those in favor of House Bill 7003 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to to change their vote.
So that's what they did. And then you'll have them show up on TDSBC claiming that the racist House stripped them of their appointments. They acted like clowns. They acted like thugs, and they were kicked out of their committees. They don't deserve to have any part in anything substantial. I hope the audio was good, by the way. Gardening says, "Oh wow, I didn't hear they were stripped. I didn't hear either. I actually found this while I was preparing this evening, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. For the first time in a long while, we're seeing consequences. Let's see. The Tennessee House of Representatives Democrat walkout of the chamber when the votes were being cast. So here are the Democrats.
While we're here in this special session,
please clear out the balcony over there. Please clear out the balcony.
The votes were happening, and they were walking out, disrupting the entire process. All right, sore losers.
Mr. Clerk.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the remainder of my time.
Yields the rest of his time.
Okay, so they are now calling the members of the House who voted for a proper proceeding the Klan. That's what these people do.
We are voting on the bill.
Most of them are paid protesters, guys. Like you can see it. Most of them, I don't think most of them come from Tennessee.
Those in favor of House Bill 7003 as amended, vote aye when the bell rings. Those opposed, vote no.
All right, so I'm going to mute the audio for a bit. So let's talk about this. Okay, now what would it look like if at the federal level you had, okay, now, sorry, you need to hear this. Okay, so these are the Democrats. Look, I am embarrassed by what I'm seeing. Okay. We saw this happen last week. We saw this happen last week again with Florida, with one of the, and it always has to be black people. It always has to be black people. Why? The same black people that claim that that white people look at them like they're apes. You're acting like apes. This isn't how democracy works. I watch this and I'm like, God, you guys are making a good case for how people shouldn't consider you guys uncivilized. But well, it is what it is. Okay, I'm black, so I can say it. Okay, it's crazy. So this happened, and the question is, what would it look like if the House, okay, at the federal level was handled this way, where people act out and they are censured instantly when they are found to be corrupt, and all the mealy-mouthing of the Republicans goes out the window and consequences are dealt out. I mean, what would it look like? Because I think this is good, and this is a good precedent, and I think we should start seeing more of this across the country. Okay, now, so here's what President Trump thinks about the Democrat Party. I'm going to just play the video, and then we'll skip over to the next one. Let me know if the audio is good, by the way. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Oh, you're having internet issues. Oh, no problem. Oh, no audio. Okay, I'm gonna stop and start again. Okay. Someday soon. Someday soon. I'll stop having these audio issues. Okay, I'm gonna play this again.
Maybe it doesn't, but it's true. Their policies are insane, and they would drive our country into ruin, and we've got to do great in the midterms. And if we don't, they will do everything they can to destroy our country. There's something wrong with them. The flow
I hope it's good now.
Deadly fentanyl across our border is down. All
right. So President Trump essentially saying what we all know. We all know this. All right. Everyone knows that the Democrats have insane policies. We've covered a bunch of these policies. We've talked about them. And it's crazy that no matter how much you scream at the top of your lungs that these things that they're trying to push are evil, you still have people voting for these policies. All right, now we're going to look at the hearings on Capitol Hill, and we're going to start with this from Kash Patel's hearing today. Now, I knew the hearings were happening, but I don't like watching these hearings because for me, it feels performative on both sides sometimes, but mostly for the Democrats. It's more like they want to get their licks in early. And here is FBI Director Kash Patel. And essentially, he just went haywire on lying Senator Chris Van Hollen. You remember the Democrats who used your taxpayer money to fly all the way to visit a deported criminal illegal alien who had been indicted on several crimes and was deported. And he essentially flew to El Salvador to meet this guy on taxpayer money. It's crazy. Gardening says, I like watching or at least listening on my well, for me, the reason why I find it not so entertaining is the biggest question is this: after all of the grandstanding, what changes with how the government runs? Will this change the fact that a corrupt senator like Van Hollen sits across from an FBI director and tries to make him look bad when he himself has a horrible record of not showing the kind of care and compassion he should be showing to his constituents? I mean, these are the questions that I ask. So let's watch this segment of their interaction.
When your security detail had difficulty waking or
let me know if the audio is good, please.
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike your baseless reports, the only person that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a $70,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you.
This
the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime during the day is you.
Director Patel, come on. These are serious allegations that were made against you.
They're allegations are false. You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger is true and on video.
It just goes to show you
running a $7,000 bar tab at the lobby bar has been filed by your own office.
Goes to show
drink during the day. That's you. This is the ultimate example of hypocrisy.
Mr. Chairman,
I will not be tarnished by baseless allegations and fraudulent statements from the media.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now,
his voice is cracking up. His voice is cracking up like, okay, so that was entertaining, okay? And this is one of the reasons why I'm excited about the Trump picks, because he picked some good fighters. Yes, a few of them didn't pan out and he had to fire them, yes. But Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, and we're going to watch Pete Hegseth as well on this run. And we're going to see, look, the thing I enjoy is watching the pushback, because many of these guys are shameless, they're corrupt, and they want to grandstand and make someone who's actually getting the job done look bad. The Biden FBI spent the entirety of the Biden administration persecuting parents who would attend school board meetings to oppose girls girls' bathrooms being invaded by boys who want to pretend to be girls. They spent time tracking down grandmas who simply took a walk through the Capitol building after the riot had passed. They still harassed those people. They spent time arresting people who were silently praying outside abortion clinics. All of that happened under the Biden administration. These guys let it happen. They facilitated it. So it's crazy to watch. Gardner says, I wonder how many of their gotchas are actually planned ahead and they just wait to say them. Are they on the papers? They are. They literally are. Like, you're going to watch this next video. Okay, so this lady essentially tries to get her licks in, and you'll watch her reading her lines from the paper. Holy-ish. Kash Patel just nuked Senator Murray after she accused him of pulling agents off counterterrorism assignments to go after journalists. So, and this is rich coming from the Democrats. Okay, so let's have a listen.
Now, Director Patel, I want to ask you about a number of extremely troubling stories recently about your leadership and temperament and what's happened to the FBI with you at the top. And in response to all the concerns about your leadership, instead of righting the ship, you've taken to polygraphing your employees to scare them and attempt to rat out leakers. There are reports that you're using FBI resources to investigate journalists for reporting what's going on, and that is absolutely not what this committee intended when we funded the Bureau. So can you commit to this committee today that no agent hours have been pulled from other work like counterterrorism or violent crime investigations to work on matters related to negative press about you or your personal lawsuit?
Senator, I greatly appreciate the question, and I can tell you unequivocally, this FBI is targeting and investigating no journalists. This FBI is targeting no journalists. The Obama and Biden administrations targeted dozens of journalists, sent out 1,200 interviews.
I didn't ask you about the Biden administration. I asked if you can commit to this committee that no agent hours have been pulled from other work.
We have not done so.
Okay, well, there are reports that are using FBI resources to investigate journalists. You are saying to this committee today that that is not true.
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, well, let me just say, Director Patel, we need a serious budget. But we also need serious leadership. And I will say this, there is one clear priority in Trump's overall budget, and it isn't law and order, it is war. Because while Trump is proposing cuts to programs that really do keep people safe, he wants to increase war spending by $500 billion. And I don't.
So what does that have to do with talking to the FBI director about his job? And you're right, like they plan all these gotchas, but most of the time they also plan these segments where they shoehorn their Trump bad narrative, because they know that outlets like TDSBC would highlight these segments and blast them on the airwaves. So that's what they do, and you can see that she's reading it off the papers in front of her, which her staffers essentially compiled for her.
I don't need to tell anyone here we are not going to bomb our way to safer communities. So I intend to help rip that budget up and.
Well, World War II would prove you wrong. World War II essentially made the world safer after the United States and the Allied forces bombed Germany, Japan, and Italy back into the Stone Age. The world was safer for it. So she's wrong when she says that. It's cowardice like this that creates all of the craziness we see in the world.
Right, bills that keep families safe. But beyond that budget, we need serious leadership at the FBI that the American people can trust. And I am deeply concerned about the reports that your leadership has not been serious. We need somebody at this agency who's focused on solving criminal cases, not passing out branded bourbon or jetting around the globe. Your job is to be reachable. And I know Senator Van Hollen asked you about this, but I got to say, if you want to pass out liquor or pop bottles in a locker room, stick to podcasting. Leave law and order to people who really do care about justice and appearances. That is really critical. And it's what I am really deeply concerned about, and so are many people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Can I respond? This is what real leadership looks like at the FBI. Every one of you was given it. This is what's happened under my tenure at the FBI and the Trump administration. 20-point drop in the homicide rate. 45,000 violent offenders arrested last year, twice as many as 2024. 2,450 criminal gangs disrupted. That's a 322% increase from 2024. 6,900 child victims have been located since I've been in the seat. That's a 144% increase. 2,900 child predators and human traffickers arrested. That's a 70% increase. And we've arrested 8 of the top 10 most wanted fugitives in the world in 14 months. That's twice as many in the 4 years combined. That is what the men and women of the FBI are doing, well-resourced. Everyone should take a look at this. If people want to continue the baseless, fraudulent, false personal attacks at me, that's great. Keep the target on me, as I've always said, but the mission has never been better.
That is the way to handle these guys. The pushback and then the facts. And you know what? They don't know what to do with it. They just continue trying to figure out how the ways to smear and smear and smear. Gardening says they have solved more than Biden's time period. The Biden FBI spent 4 years going after political enemies. That's what they did. Now, here's Pete Hegseth, okay, because he showed up before Congress. We didn't cover it, but here are some of the highlights because it's more of the same. It's more of the same grandstanding and trying to make a Trump appointee look bad. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth just absolutely mic dropped Senator Chris Coons to his face in the Senate hearing. Now let's have a listen. Let me know if the audio is good as per usual.
Program, which we knew came with threats and branches and sequels.
My concern, Mr. Secretary, is that you've achieved a series of tactical successes, but are on the verge of a strategic loss because we are now negotiating.
I just think it's so foolish. Here we are in a committee of the United States Senate, 74 days in, and you're talking about strategic loss. We have the ability to defeat a 47-year threat of a pursuit of a nuclear weapon. We have more leverage than we've ever had. We've had incredible battlefield successes, and you're talking about a strategic loss?
Mr. Secretary,
disingenuous questions.
Mr. Secretary,
this is how you undercut efforts that could otherwise and are otherwise.
I am not your enemy, sir. I am not your
nuclear program, which we knew came with threats and.
Well, the way you guys act, you act like the enemy. Like these people sound like they're rooting for the enemy to win. I don't know. Am I the only one who feels that way when I hear them essentially ignore all of the successes that the U.S. Army, the military has had during the war with Iran? This is a war unlike any other war that I've watched in the last 30 years. I watched Desert Storm. I watched Desert Storm 2. I watched all the other, even the war that happened in the 90s or under Clinton. Okay. And this one has been so effective. So then again, they tried to attack him for not allowing funds to flow to Ukraine without proper tracking and paperwork. So Democrats are melting down after they learned Secretary of War Pete Hegseth is refusing to give hundreds of millions of dollars to Ukraine without any control or checks. Okay, like it's just more corruption. Okay, so let's have a listen because sometimes the posts can be deceptive, but you let me know if this is accurate.
For Ukraine. So far, your department has not spent a dime of that $400 million, despite repeated follow-up requests from the chairman and myself. In a call just last week, your staff indicated we will see a spend plan for those funds this week. Will you commit to spending those $400 million for weapons for Ukraine, and when will we receive your department's spend plan?
I appreciate that question. The $400 million for European capacity building has been released from the Secretary of War's office, and we'll work with UCOM to make sure they spend it accordingly and properly, which we have all faith that they will.
Mr. Secretary, when will this subcommittee get the associated spend plan?
So the Democrats are more concerned about giving money to Ukraine than about funding the war against a 47-year enemy of the United States. Does that make sense? Okay, someone please make it make sense.
For the $400 million.
Yeah, I mean, we will work with your committee to make sure that the spend plan as allocated, I want to make sure UCOM is fully informed in how they want to spend this. They're the closest to the problem set. And so working with them to ensure that you have the spend plan, will work with you.
Mr. Secretary, thank you, but it's May, and this has been the law since January, and you or your representatives have been asked this repeatedly on a bipartisan basis by members of this committee, and I think dragging our feet on this small investment in Ukraine's defense sends exactly the wrong signal to Putin at a time when the contest for freedom has its front lines in Ukraine.
Yeah, Gardening says money laundering. It goes back to the Democrats. They are hurting for money. Yeah, since USAID got shut down and all the other scams that they've been running for decades got shut down, they're just looking for more ways to siphon money. Now, if you're joining us for the first time of catching our channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell icon to be notified whenever we have a live stream going or post fresh content. I have a new video I'm working on, and I hope you like it when it drops. Now, we're going to pivot slightly to the hantavirus situation. When we covered it the last time, we played the videos from the WHO, and the WHO was essentially telling us that, well, the virus isn't COVID, it's not a pandemic, but somehow it sounds like everyone is talking from both sides of their mouths. You have the WHO saying it's not that serious, it's not as huge, as big as a problem as COVID was. And then you have the Democrats essentially saying stuff like what we're about to hear. So let's start with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is lashing out at the White House, okay, claiming that the administration's policy decisions have left the nation vulnerable to the recent hantavirus outbreak. Okay, this is stupid, but let's listen.
On the hantavirus, we continue to pray for all American cruise ship passengers exposed to hantavirus and those who remain in quarantine. I can only imagine how distressing this experience has been. The Trump administration's gutting of America's public health preparedness has
right now. How does that make sense? Okay, please let me know if the connection dropped for a bit. I saw a signal, and I just want to be sure that you're still getting the feed. So Chuck Schumer is claiming that the cuts that were made, okay, yeah, it dropped. So Chuck Schumer is claiming that the cuts that were made essentially affected the preparedness for the hantavirus, and that is just a lie. Hey, Intergalactic Angler, welcome back. Good to see you. Now, why is he talking like this? Because they're trying to see if there's something they can squeeze in for the midterms. Okay, they're trying. They know that they're losing. The Democrats are losing. They don't have a chance to win the midterms with all of the districts that they're going to lose, all the seats that they're going to lose. They know it. And now they're fishing for a reason to essentially use mail-in ballots so they can cheat. Now, this is Governor Kathy Hochul. And let's hear what she has to say.
3 individuals who call New York home. We don't know whether those individuals will be returning to New York. I believe that there's a 42-day monitoring period, and they can decide whether they want to do that in Nebraska or come back and make other accommodations. But my health department, my departments, all have been involved with the CDC from the beginning. And I want to make sure that the CDC is capable of handling something should it grow larger than they're predicting. We have outstanding researchers here in the state of New York, scientists, our Wadsworth Laboratory.
So let me get this straight. The hantavirus was identified and quarantined on a cruise ship on the ocean. It wasn't like COVID where people were already in the country infecting other people before it was before anyone realized what was going on. We know of 6 Americans, I think that's what she said, who have been identified. Okay, if you're so worried that they might start an outbreak, quarantine them for the entirety of the 40-50 day period that she mentioned. Oh, but no, she wants everyone to start getting concerned that maybe there might be this outbreak that would happen because we don't know. They must think we're stupid, honestly. They must they must think we're stupid.
Laboratory is second to none, so I've activated them to start preparing New York for worst case scenarios and hope they don't come. But I cannot, as governor, not be prepared for anything that could happen. And again, given our concern about Washington, that I have to step up and make sure that New York is helping lead the way here.
So the Democrats are in lockstep yet again, trying to claim that somehow Trump is going to cause the hantavirus to break out because he doesn't want to give them money to funnel into their Democrat war chest. That's what we just heard. Okay. So let me know what you think in the chat. Okay. I saw this and I was like, okay, let's talk about this. Okay, let's talk about this. Now, I don't know if you guys ran into this story when it broke weeks ago, but I think with what's going on in Virginia, it's good for us to talk about it just for a bit. And let me know what you think in the chat. Okay, a few weeks ago, this report came out. Okay, outrage is erupting across Virginia after Abigail Spanberger signed HB 965 into law, effectively rendering Virginians' presidential votes null and void, with the measure handling the state's handing the state's electoral votes to the national popular vote winner, regardless of the state's results. Did you get that? So this measure essentially says the state can opt to ignore the electoral vote count, and if the candidate they like happens to win the popular vote, the state can decide that they would rather award the candidate of their choice the electoral vote because they won the popular vote. Are you following? This is what Democrats do. You can see it highlighted here on the screen. Okay. The presidential electors, the National Popular Vote Compact, enters Virginia into an interstate compact known as the Agreement among the States to Elect the President by National Popular Vote. Article 2 of the Constitution of the United States gives the states exclusive and plenary authority to decide the manner of awarding their electoral votes. Is that true? We will find out. Virginia agrees to award its electoral votes to the presidential ticket that receives the most popular votes in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. That's what she just signed. And people are saying, okay, look, the Supreme Court is going to strike this down. I don't know, but what do you think? Okay, what do you think? Because they are looking for ways to cheat. All right. She looks very pleased with herself signing this law. Is it constitutional for her to do this? Is this constitutional for her to essentially say, to hell with the fact that the voters decided by the electoral vote to elect this person? But because nationally they won the popular vote, the popular vote is a different count at the national level. Virginia can opt to say, well, this person won the popular vote, so we hand it over to them. They're baking in an option for blue states to bypass the electoral vote, because it is the electoral vote that counts during presidential elections. So the thing going on in Virginia is very indicative of how far Democrats are willing to go to steal elections. And I'm going to use that word because that's what they're trying to do. Now, whether this is constitutional, according to their claim that the Constitution allows them to decide that they can willy-nilly decide the voters within the state no longer count, and they can willy-nilly decide to say at a national level, this person is more popular, we would rather give them that electoral vote count. So let's see if this lands at the docket of the Supreme Court to figure out what they're going to do. But let me know your thoughts in the chat, because like, did any of you hear about this this thing that happened in Virginia several weeks ago? Because this is old news. Okay, it's old news. It happened weeks ago. The gerrymandering threats came after. They came after, and that essentially overshadowed the news cycle, and no one thought about discussing this at length. But did you hear about it? And what do you think about this? And for those of you who are constitutional scholars in the chat, is this constitutional? If you have access to Grok AI or ChatGPT, maybe you can type something in and ask, is this correct? You know, maybe I should just do that right now. Okay, so let's see, because it's weird. Okay, so let's see. Let me use Grok. Okay, I'm going to use Grok, and because this is what I do. This is how I usually check these things. Okay, so I'm just going to ask a very simple question to Grok. I'm going to expand this. I'm going to expand this so we can see it full screen. Okay, is this constitutional? So we'll just ask and find out. All right, no definitive answer exists yet. Okay, so the Democrats have done their homework. Intergalactic Wrangler says, I'm just a revolutionist idiot. Well, let's see what happens. I think the Supreme Court is going to be called upon to argue this, because if any state decides that they can willy-nilly hand over the electoral vote of their state to the person who won the popular vote, because 2016 still stings for the Democrats. It still stings. So they still believe that they own the popular votes and that they will always own the popular votes. And now they're preparing for the eventuality that during the next election, they would win the popular vote and the Republicans might win the electoral vote. So they aren't banking on the same thing that happened during the 2024 elections to happen a second time. So let's keep our fingers crossed and let's look out for this Supreme Court hearing, because once it starts, I'm going to be very interested in hearing what they have to say about that. Now, let's pivot over to New York. I said we were going to talk about New York. A pro-Palestinian wears a mock suicide vest in New York City. When will America wake up before they actually start blowing themselves up? Let's watch this video. I'm going to mute the dramatic music. I don't want to get a copyright strike or anything. So this guy is wearing a mock suicide vest, and they're putting up signs "Free Palestine," and there's a very surly old woman. If she loves Palestine so much, she should go back. Intergalactic Wrangler says, I've been to New York a few times. I'm glad I don't live there. I have family that lives in New York, and they are Democrats. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So this is what these guys are doing openly in New York. New Yorkers essentially have either forgotten 9/11, or the people who lived through 9/11 are so silent that they can't speak up anymore. It's crazy. You're laughing. Look, as much as I want to, I want to convince my family that that Trump is the best option for the world. I'm just a member of the family. I'm the middle child. Okay, I'm the middle child, and the older ones don't listen to me, and it's my older brother who lives in New York. Now here's another video from New York. Again, this Islamic radical is working security at LaGuardia Airport in New York. He threatened to kill Jews last night. Can we make this go viral to raise awareness so he can be arrested? Let's look. I'm thoroughly concerned. I'm also wondering if some of these things are just memes. Like, is this serious?
Not yet? You still working for LaGuardia? You still working for LaGuardia Airport? I looked up your mom's ass. Come on, you still working for LaGuardia Airport? Yes. Yeah? Maybe. I don't know. Look at this nut job. Look. Next time I'm going to get my bodyguard on you. Look at these guys that cucks. Look at these guys that cucks. He's Islamophobic. Guys that cucks. He's Islamophobic. Guys that cucks. Benzona. Guys that cucks. Guys that cucks. Guys that cucks. Benzona. Guys that cucks. Guys that cucks. Guys that cucks. Benzona. Guys that cucks. Do something. Guys that cucks. Do something. Guys that cucks. Guys that cucks. Guys that cucks. Come you pussy. The biggest talker, bro. Come here, motherfucker. Come here, man. Come here. You come here.
Okay, so let me know in the chat. Okay, I I have a couple of more videos to show, but last year, and I think Intergalactic Wrangler may have been on that live stream last year, when Mamdani was still, campaigning and going through the debate cycle, I said, look, if this guy wins, it's going to be bad. Intergalactic Wrangler says mental illness, lock him up. I agree. Gardening says I couldn't live anywhere like that. Small towns for me. Look, I didn't know what I was missing until I moved to a small town. I've lived in cities all my life. Okay, pro-Hamas thugs, let me share this screen. Pro-Hamas thugs storming a Brooklyn Jewish neighborhood, ripping Jewish girls by the hair, attacking kids on their way to synagogue. This is New York.
What you doing? Let's go, motherfucker! Come on! Come on, motherfucker! Shuffle. Yeah. 9/11 also. Did you celebrate 9/11? Shuffle. Are you celebrating 78 years of bloodshed? 78. Are you celebrating 78 years of bloodshed? 78 years of occupation? Are you celebrating this? Are you celebrating 78 years of occupation?
So these guys who dress like Hasidic Jews belong to a minority sect in Orthodox Judaism that have an obsession with Islam. So as far as this is the woke Orthodox Jews, okay, just like you have woke churches, okay, if I can call them churches, okay, but they're just woke churches. There are woke people within the Jewish community who believe that what's happened in Israel is a bad thing, that Israel shouldn't have defended itself against the Arab neighbors that essentially wanted to wipe them out in between 1948 and the 1960s. There were pogroms that happened routinely in the Middle East, in Israel, until the this is 6-day war or 5-day war. I can't remember. I think I need to start drinking coffee. so when you watch this and you see this happening and you get confused, it's not that the Jewish community is okay. Well, it is that the Jewish community is fractured. It's as fractured as any other community out there. Okay, so you have people like this who dressed like Jewish Hasidic Jews, but they side with Islam, even though Islam has sworn to wipe Israel off the map. Okay, the Islamists have sworn to wipe Israel off the map. They will side with them. So it's generally insanity going on right now on the streets of New York. So let me know what you think now. While all of that is happening, okay, and I want to now, so guys, I've visited. Okay, before I say that, I'm just going to play the video. I'm going to show you something. This is in Brooklyn, New York. Maybe some of you have seen this video. Okay, this is Brooklyn, New York. Okay, blocked at 5 a.m. by thousands for Islamic prayer. Okay, this isn't diversity, it's domination. And let's play this. This is New York. So this is May. Mamdani was sworn in, was it in January? So this is about 4 or 5 months, and this is already happening. Well, I checked on Grok. Grok says this has been happening for a few years, but it's ramped up after Mamdani became mayor of New York. So now you're having Islamists openly dressing up in mock suicide bombing vests. You have them openly attacking Jews on the streets, threatening Jews, going physical, having rallies within New York, and then you have them blocking the streets and praying. Now, what I started out to say was this. I visited a Muslim country. My wife and I took a trip to Dubai a few years ago. We landed on a Thursday and we woke up on a Friday to there, because Fridays nobody works in Islamic countries. It's their own version of Sunday. It's their holy day of the week. Nobody was kneeling in the middle of the street and praying. Nobody was doing this. These people want you to believe that that's the way Islamic countries operate. It doesn't operate. It doesn't work like this in Islamic countries. They don't do this in Saudi Arabia. They don't do this even like in most of the Islamic countries. They don't do this. They only do this in the West because they want to assert their domination that, yes, we're doing this and you can't do this. So That's what's going on in New York. We've looked at Congress. We've looked at the consequences that the Democrats are suffering in Tennessee for their insanity. We've looked at what's going on in New York. There's a lot more going on all over the country. And many times we miss those little subtle stories that are popping up here and there. There are things going on with respect to the Islamification of the West. So while we're talking about wokeness and so on, there's another thing going on under the covers, and this is not me fear mongering. It's just me observing and saying this is going on, and no one is really paying attention to it. And anyone who calls it out is called an Islamophobe, so that you don't talk about it. And when you see the guys that we just watched threatening and essentially trying to get physical, pulling the hair of young Jewish girls that are going to synagogue, like we saw in the previous video, the question is, why is all this allowed to happen? Mayor Mamdani has spent the last 4 or 5 months demoralizing the NYPD. I don't want to show most of the things that I find on the internet because they are very concerning, guys. They're very concerning. And the Democrat Party has spent the last few decades running on race, preaching their own version of tolerance, while they have people like this running for office and winning. So my question to you is, what do you think? Now, my thoughts are this. I have deep concerns that this is being allowed to happen. I have deep concerns that no one is paying attention to what's going on in Europe with many historic European cities and communities essentially changing and becoming third world cities, and nobody cares. And like it or let's say it looks like nobody cares, but what is essentially happening is that the mainstream media is blocking this news from going out. Here's another video. Like I said, I have these videos. I see these videos, and many times I catch them and I just avoid them because I don't know if most of you care to see some of these stories. Because one thing that I ask myself many times whenever I see these stories is, what can I do about it? If it's something I can't do anything about, or something I can't speak to effectively, sometimes I just sidestep the story and say, okay, maybe I leave it in my bookmark folder and I say I'll go back to it when the time is right. Maybe this evening the time is kind of right. Intergalactic Wrangler says there's just too many people that don't follow politics or even know anything is going on. They live in the dark. Yes, they live in the dark, but again, yes, they're too busy trying to pay their mortgage or their bills. I didn't truly understand how distracting daily life is in the West until we moved here. In Africa, what my family did was we would pay our rent a year ahead of time or 2 years ahead. Like we would just pay in bulk, and it wasn't like we could pay monthly. The landlords would insist that you needed to pay a year or 2 months in advance, or 2 years in advance, because the economy is so unstable and they need that financial buffer to hedge against inflation and so on. So you paid a year or two ahead. And I came here and I had to pay monthly. And when I arrived here, my monthly rent was about the same as my annual rent back in Africa. It's very distracting. Very. So you see all of this happening, and when people kind of don't know what's going on, it's easy to understand that they're just busy trying to survive. They're just trying to live. They're trying to pay bills. They're trying to raise their kids. In Africa, I could hire a nanny for the kids dirt cheap. I can't do that here. So you need to take care of your kids yourself. And it's very distracting to do that. So I get it. Many people are in the dark, but many people are just either in too much pain because they are paying bills and there's so much going on and they're just trying to survive and keep their head above water. And the news media that they're supposed to trust to tell them, hey, here's what you need to know, is lying to them and brainwashing them. Intergalactic Wrangler says it's an invasion the left has been hiding. Damn socialists. It's chaos, and they just and that's the frustrating bit. You see how it's affected Europe. The question is this: do you want the same thing happening in America? That's the question that I keep asking. You know, Intergalactic Wrangler says they want to be in power at all costs. Yeah, and for me, when I share these stories, I think that's part of what I want to show, that these are the pieces that a lot of people don't see. It's one thing to say, oh, Democrats are horrible, they're crazy, they're insane, look at them acting out on the streets and so on. And yeah, we can say that and look at that, but you know what are those small changes that they're making in their blue cities, in blue states, that are seeping across the country? There's a video that I stored, or I saved in the bookmarks, and I want to just play it. It was a video where someone was counting the number of cities ruled by Sharia law in the United States. I'm going to play it, and let's see. I'm going to read the chat. Just hang on. We're touching on something, and I hope you guys like this, because sometimes, but okay, so I'm going to play this and then we'll talk about what I have in my head. Okay. So here are the cities run by Sharia law. I hope there's no music here.
We have 18 cities that I have reported myself with documentation. 18 cities in America are 100% conquered by Sharia.
Warren, Amtrak, Patterson, New Jersey. There's a few that I can think of. They've even got like Arabic on their police badges, renamed Main Street Palestine Way. I mean, this is real. It's not figment of anyone.
18 cities have been are currently under Sharia law.
What? There's an Islamville in New York.
Yes.
Oh, yikes. Wow.
That is my number one on the 18 report. It's called the Conquer Map of America. Wow. The number one city is called Islamville. And yes, we are conquered. The question is, are we going to let them finish it or not?
And of course, we have a Muslim mayor in New York City now, other than Washington, D.C.
So there are 18 cities in New York currently running on Sharia law. I saw this and I thought Dearborn was the only one that had that going on, but I was wrong, and I'm just finding that out today, this evening, while I was preparing for the show. Gardening says, I like you sharing stories because sometimes I miss things. Also, others might not even search out news. Many times I wish so sometimes, okay, but well, this is just me, just venting. I'm just venting. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I was ignorant of all of this stuff, because when you start seeing this, you can't unsee it. You can't remain asleep. You see it happening in real time, and you want to scream and shout and say, hey, stop. This is bad. This is dangerous. But the people you're trying to shake awake are still asleep. They can't see what's going on. So sometimes I'm looking through the news feed and I'm seeing all of these things popping up, and I look at the date and I'm like, this is current. It's not this video that I showed you of them blocking the streets and praying in the middle of the street. I had to do a Grok fact check to see if this was real. Many times when I go, and that's why I use X. I use X because of the community notes. It tells me if a story is bogus or if a story has issues. For example, I was going to share a story about a controversy with Thomas Massey. For me, it was politically convenient to share that story. For me, it was more like, oh, this story is something that kind of ties in with some of the things we suspect about people like Thomas Massey. But it was community noted that this could not be depended on, and I had to back away from it. So even though a story appears to line up with my political or my political motives, I would call it that, because I am biased as a conservative. I want to hear news that fits into my conservative framework. I still am committed to tell you guys the truth. And if a story, even though it is politically aligned with what we believe, isn't factual, I don't bring it to the stage here. I set it aside. So I want to guarantee you guys that if I'm going to put something up, I will do my best to make sure that it is factual, it is true. I'm not fear mongering. I'm just trying to put the facts in front of you, and then we can discuss it. If I'm wrong, I own up to the fact that I'm wrong, and I don't want to, try to push a narrative that I'm right. Okay. So I want to assure you guys that that's what I'm always going to try to do. Yeah, so others don't search out the news. I watch these things. It concerns me. Sometimes I wish I didn't see them, but I am burdened with the knowledge of all of this, and I just decide, okay, I'm going to share it with you guys and see where it goes. And guys, sometimes I'm like, should I bring stories that kind of fill the channel with viewers, like controversial stories? Like, I could literally do a live stream where all we look at is all these unhinged protesters and confrontations. And you know what? Before the live stream is over, we would have maybe 500 views on the live stream. But does that have substance in the end? If you look at protests and all you're seeing is, oh, these guys are crazy. Oh, why do they vote? And you're getting stirred up and you can't do anything about it. I haven't helped you. I've enraged you. I've made you upset like I am. But how have I helped you? Have I given you information you can use? Have I told you something you didn't know? So I know that I could do all of those things. I've watched channels do it and they've exploded. But I don't want to do stuff like that because I don't think it's honest. I don't think it's right. I don't think that is why I'm here. I don't think that's why I'm here. I'm not here to poison your mind and your heart with fear and concern. Yes, this is rich coming from me because I just showed you 4 panels with the situation in New York. But I'm only showing it because we don't see this in the news. And I'm showing it because last year I covered the Mamdani campaign. I warned about it, and what we warned about is happening in real time. And it's just like, I wish I was wrong, but here it is. It's happening. Intergalactic says, how can these towns be legal? They are, because they find these loopholes in the US Constitution. If the federal government, or if federal law or the federal constitution doesn't essentially explicitly say you can't do something, they try to find those loopholes to begin to do them within these blue cities. And the blue cities write new laws within their city laws to allow for these things to happen. That's what the Democrats have been doing for decades. Gardening says they are trying in Texas. Yes, it was blocked, but I think they've tried to resume the Epic City situation. So it's tiring, but you know what? I don't think we should give up or be frustrated or just fold. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep voting. Okay. And yeah, there are just a handful of us on this live stream, but all over the place. What? Am I muted? Hello? Am I muted? Can you tell me, can anyone tell me if they can still hear me? Gardening says I'm muted. Or are you referring to the video? No, the video, I just let it play on a loop. I muted it. We've heard everything we need to hear from the video. So that's why I'm just playing it on a loop. Oh, for a second or two, then it started back. Okay, sorry about that. Eventually I have to change my gear because they've been acting up. Let's see. Gardening says, thank you for fact checking. I wasn't sure on the Massey thing and didn't really look it up, just saw it in passing. Yeah, it's weird. It's like it came up last year and it was almost like a smear campaign. Who knows? I'm like, let's leave it alone. If we're going to say anything, in your spare time, read Philippians. It's in the New Testament. Philippians 4, chapter 4, verse 8. I want to run the channel based on Philippians 4, verse 8. Okay, so this is your homework. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. So just read it, and I want to guide my actions on the channel using that scripture. Let's see. I tried to delete when you came back. I don't know what that means. Oh, to delete the comments. Okay. The comment in the chat. I understand now. Yeah, so let's have a brief conversation before we say goodnight. So I try to let you guys know where the channel is going, what we're about, what we believe. You guys know that I'm conservative. I'm a Christian. I believe in fairness. I believe in telling the truth. Sometimes the truth is going to hurt, but we have to tell it. I believe in community, that we can come together and we can encourage each other, and we can, essentially build something that will be helpful. I believe it. And so I'm hoping that as we continue to do this, we're going to be able to reach some of these goals that we have to become a force that can promote great conservative values and unveil the deception of the leftists and the communists and socialists. Okay, and let's throw in the Islamists because I think they are also a very bad bunch. So let's keep at it. Thank you so much, guys, for the support. Thank you for being here every night. Without you guys showing up, it would be extremely difficult to do this every night. Some days it's really tiring because I have a family to take care of, shower the young one, put him to bed, make sure everything is going well. After this live stream, I will be making lunch for the kids so that when they wake up, they have lunch to take to school. That's what I want to do tonight. So there's still stuff to do, but whenever I go through these moments where I sit with you and look at the news and talk about them with you and read your comments, there's some exchange there that encourages me, and you showing up and commenting goes a long way, and it helps a whole lot. Now, if you're watching first time, you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. If you've never sent a chat, I can see a bunch of you watching and you're not chatting. What are you doing? Just send an emoji. Just say, hey, I'm here. All you can say is, hey, I'm watching from this part of the world. Put a thumbs up. We just need to know that you're with us. That's all you need to do. And if you feel like supporting us, consider donating with a super chat. It helps us keep the lights on, and it's helpful all around. Okay, let's see. Intergalactic Wrangler says social bell. What is that? Okay, I'm going to put this on the screen because I don't know how to pronounce it. It's hard to pronounce. Social liberals. Okay, I'm not doing that. Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Socialist, liberalism, and Islam. I guess that's what you're trying to say. Socialists, liberals, and Muslims. I know you made up the word. I could see the different segments, but I was like, okay, how do you say it? How do you pronounce this? Yeah, so it's what we're seeing all over the world. Maybe someday we'll have a live stream where we just look at what's going on in Europe. As it is right now, Europe is conquered. As it stands right now, Europe is conquered. Ideologically, religiously, politically, Europe is conquered. And it's a hard thing to say, but the evidence is clear. So America is next. And already we're seeing it eating into the fabric. Dearborn, Amtrak. We're looking at New York. It's growing. And then there's this thing about people who are in politics openly saying that they want to be sworn in using the Quran instead of the Bible. That should be an instant disqualification of anyone who's been elected. Look, this is a Christian country. You get sworn in with the Bible. If you don't like it, get on that boat you sailed in on and go back to where you came from. It's really that simple. Because, like I said, I've been to at least one Islamic country. You don't go there and tell them you don't work on Sundays. Meanwhile, they work on Sundays, but they don't work on Fridays. You don't go there to try to establish your own parallel legal system in an Islamic country. It's not done. So America should sit up and vote out all of the traitors that have essentially allowed this to happen. Because you don't know how bad it is until it's happening in your country. Okay, the reason why we, the immigrants, fled our countries was because the system that we're ruled under doesn't work. And then we have these third worldists who look at the third world to say, Wouldn't it be nice for us to bring that over here to a country that is so blessed and is working so great, so that we can destroy it and become the top dog over the ashes? That's who these guys are. Gardening says, well, it doesn't really seem to matter what they swear in on, because they don't mean anything they say anyway. You're right. They're liars. They're liars. If they put their hands on the Bible, like the ones who claim to be Christians and are Democrats and put their hands on the Bible, and they immediately their hands are lifted off the Bible, they've begun to devise ways to break that oath. It's crazy. All right, we could talk about this all night, but I need to let you guys go, and I need to prepare lunch for the kids. So they're all asleep, so they need to wake up to find that lunch is ready and they can pack it up and head out to school in the morning. So thank you guys for hanging out. It's always a pleasure. Hope to catch you guys tomorrow. We're going to be back again to see what's in the news and what I see in my feed. And if you have any stories that pop up on your screen, just email it to me at this email address. I need to put up the email address and send it over to me. I would like to take a look at it and use it, add it to the list of stories that we could cover during the live stream. All right. Intergalactic Wrangler says, stay safe, everyone. Thank you, Intergalactic Wrangler. Thank you for the show. Nice seeing you. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.